April 26, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. Looked like in the so this is the pre-market highs and pre-market lows, and it looked like in the pre-market it was just kind of really choppy. On the open, it already started off the low and it sold off. Then it had a pretty substantial rally. It was very gradual for about an hour, and then it went sideways. And this is actually very slow price action, and it had kind of like a range. It broke out two legs up, kind of consolidated, another leg down, another push up, and back down. So some mixed trading. There was some, I guess, some trading ranges, but a lot of it was just these channels and swing legs. There were two times economic data came out. One was at around 5:30, which is about right here. You can see this big push up right on the announcement of the core PCE numbers pushed up, and then it sold off. And then the second piece of economic data came out at around 7 o'clock Pacific Standard, which is about right here. It's the revised consumer sentiment numbers. But overall, after I would say the first hour, which is about right here, so this is 1 hour of trading, then you can see from here back is, the rest of the 5.5 hours of trading. So it definitely was a very slow day. I took a total of 4 trades, and I am rather surprised that I took that many trades, but the great thing is I got profitable on all 4. I will admit the first 2 trades, which are these two guys, were a little riskier. The setups weren't quite baked out, and I think these easily probably could have been losses if I wasn't careful. And then I like this last trade that I took. I thought it was a pretty good setup. And then this one wasn't too bad either, the third trade. There weren't too many other setups that I could find because the price action just wasn't there. So even the 4 that I took, probably 2, these last 2 were valid, and these first 2 were a little more iffy. I'm going to go into the chart right now. So pre-market, it kind of looks like a range, but it's just very choppy because there's no real consistent highs and maybe a consistent low down here. And I actually placed the lows of the pre-market here and here, even though it chopped a little bit lower because I felt there was a little more support or more respect at this price level. So I thought this could have been a failed breakout. The first setup I saw was actually in the pre-market. Now I'm not around really to trade the pre-market. It was a new high here. Looked like there was a green down channel, the breakout. It was a first entry long, pullback, second entry long, failure. Now the second entry long failure, it's kind of an almost trade. It's a break of this green down channel. It looked like it broke. It's trying to reach the bottom. It's nice that it's a smaller risk because it's only 6 ticks. But I wanted it to touch the EMA, and I didn't really like that it dwelled outside this down channel for so long because I did think maybe there's a bigger channel, but then it doesn't even fit as nicely anymore. So this green down channel fit pretty well on the top and bottom, but it doesn't really matter. I just marked it for myself mainly because if this was happening in regular trading hours and I saw something like that, I think I would have considered it an almost trade. So on the bell, it opens. It kind of stays out of this green channel, but it is going toward the bearish downtrend. And I was thinking maybe there's kind of this overlapping second channel right here, but I got rid of it later because it didn't really help. So it was there in real time for a little while. Okay, then prices move. It breaks out of what I called the pre-market low. So I consider this a failed breakout. Technically, the pre-market low would be right here. Chops around, and this is actually where I take my first trade. Now, I'm not particularly proud of this trade, but it was in real time what I thought was a decent setup. It had three key entry points because there's a new low here. It pushes up, it creates a first entry short, then it creates a second entry short after this candle. So this is a signal bar, makes a second entry short. It also makes a new high, first entry long, just barely by 1 tick, pull back, and it hasn't made a second entry long yet. So the next candle creates a second entry long and also kind of creates what I thought was a failed second entry short. So it's first entry short, second entry short, pushing up. I counted it as 1 key entry point, which is the EMA is holding. Second key entry points, first entry long, second entry long, and then the third one's failed second entry short. So I'll admit this one is very aggressive because I also knew kind of in the back of my head, this looks like it's consolidating, but I also banked on the idea that it's a break of this yellow channel, made one attempt up. This could be the second attempt up to test the highs. So I wasn't really going to try try to shoot for too many points. And after I made one attempt up, it kind of consolidated. And at this point, I thought I'm probably going to lose this trade. It pushes up, looks pretty good, and then I was able to quickly just scalp out for one quick point. And I was aware the highs was nearby, so I didn't really want to try for 2 points. So this was, I would say, kind of a riskier danger trade because it is congested. And this green down channel, well, I did take into account the green channel has broken out and tested its low. So I was thinking it's probably ripe for a correction. One leg up, consolidation, second leg up. But to take this trade, I felt was a little, especially in hindsight, was a little more risky. Prices move up. This purple up channel doesn't exist yet. Yeah, first entry long, second entry longs, inside bar. I don't really like this. So here I drew this as a trend line going up. It wasn't quite a channel yet. Consolidates here, keeps pricing through. There's a new low. It's a first entry short, second entry short. It's inside bar. Nothing I really particularly like. Pushes up. So now I turn my purple uptrend line into a purple up channel. So I had to cut through this because I was playing with it for a while, trying to get maybe angling it just right to see if I could include this and this without having this overshoot. But I figured this overshoot is probably rather small because after this overshoot, it didn't create a corresponding overshoot over here. So this wasn't really a convincing breakout. So I just considered it, even though it cut through this one candle, it touched nicely here. So I just thought, okay, this purple up channel is still valid. Prices then continue moving. I especially like this third touch confirmation. It pushes down. I saw this as a new high. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. Now this second entry long, it's clear that the EMA is starting to act maybe as support. Again, this is my second trade that I thought was a little riskier. The signal bar for the second entry long is this guy, and it's not very promising because it's very bearish, but on this candle, it reversed it and ticked one tick above. Then toward the end of the life of this candle, it pushed back down and closed here. So I was very interested to see if it's going to push back up and through. But all things considered, you're thinking it touched the bottom, it touched the top. It's probably going to make one leg down, pull back, and then a second leg down. So when this candle formed, it was kind of an impulse that I entered the trade because it opened here, it ticked down, it flashed up, and it spent a little bit of time up here. So I thought, okay, I'm going to enter this trade. I think this is going to be another quick bounce up. So I entered right at the highs of this one before this bar closed, which is already risky off of a very mediocre setup. So it went up. I decided, okay, it's chopped up. I didn't take the 1 point because I said, for the amount of risk that I'm taking, because my stop was down here, I'm going to at least aim for 2 points. And I was able to quickly get out for a 2 point scalp. So it went in at 51.28 to 51.30. And in hindsight, because it also got out just before the highs of here, in hindsight, I don't think this was a good setup to even have entered. But it's strange that I decided to keep for the 2 point because when I saw this and then I saw this, and as it was forming, I thought, because I still had the opportunity to quickly get out for 1 point, I thought, okay, maybe this is kind of a higher low. It's a not the best higher low, but it is a higher low. And maybe I'll have enough to save me. And again, these two trades aren't the best ones, then aren't the best decisions, especially in hindsight when I reviewed the chart. Nevertheless, I was green on both, and I said, okay, I got to calm down. I'm probably getting a little anxious from the last couple days, like with no trade yesterday, and then today with just taking these two quick trades. And then I think the day before, I wasn't even able to trade, so I think I was feeling like I needed to get something, and that's definitely not the motivation or the proper mindset to go in with. So I was aware now that I was probably, in a way, not trading. Well, I was kind of like trading on tilt, but not because of a loss. I think I was trading on tilt because I was getting reckless for sure. Prices move up. So I really like this purple channel now because it confirmed once, twice, 3 times. That's pretty solid. Confirms once, twice, 3, 4 times. So I like that it's also making the big moves to the bottom, big moves to the top. It kind of failed here, made it to the top, made back to the bottom. Big green bar is giving me confidence. Going to try to push it back up to the top. And it does. So I like that. Okay, I said, okay, this is great. There's potential second entry short here, but I don't like that this is a inside bar. He's pushing, and it kind of makes a double top up here. So technically you have a new high, first entry long pullback. You technically have a second entry long here, but the way I saw it is it's kind of created a double top. I just reset the count here, and I said this is a first entry long pullback. I'm waiting for a touch bounce off of here. I get the touch bounce off of here. I got a great signal bar. So remember, this is technically the new high, but I counted this and grouped it as one. I said it's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. Looks like it's 2 legs back. I like this signal bar. I like that it ticked a little below to trap any short sellers and then flashed really strong up. So I thought, okay, this looks pretty good. I enter at the 1 tick above and I quickly just get out for my 1 point scalp. I was happy with that. I knew there's maybe going to have enough push to get back to this purple line, but what's giving me a little pause is previously this one in the life of this move, it didn't make it to the bottom and push to the top. Now it hit the bottom and made it to here. It didn't quite make it to the top and came back down. So I'm thinking here it might be running out of steam. So I don't want to press my luck. Pushes up, especially when I saw this start reversing, that I felt good about my decision. Bouncing here. Now we finally have a break. Goes down in this yellow channel. So it looks like it's, I don't know if it's going to retest the highs of this purple one now. But at this point, when I saw this bounce back up, I thought there was some kind of support here. So I drew a line here, and I wasn't too sure where the top was, whether it's a trading range up here or slightly lower. So I ended up with just this purple or this light violet trading range, but I didn't really trust the highs yet. The lows I'm a little more confident of. There's a small breakout here, but if I drag the lows even lower, then there would be no confirmation here and no confirmation here. So I actually kept it a little bit higher, so it looked like it's a little more reinforced. Pushes up on this orange one, fails to hit this high. I'm wondering if this orange break is going to test the high. Looks like it made one attempt, two attempt, and now it's just consolidating. I don't like that these candles are just kind of side by side, not giving me any good indication of which way it's going to go. Prices then move up, hits the top, comes back down. I'm thinking now I'm in a trading range with the highs up here because it one touch, two touch, three touch, triple test, and potentially a triple test down here, but I don't like this counting this as a triple test, especially when it ended up bullish. So it's not really a test here, it just kind of blasted through. So this is a confirmed test, failed. A second confirmed test to go short and failed. And these are more confirmed tests to go long. It got rejected. Second attempt got rejected. I'm wondering if it's going to be a third attempt. Pushes through, potentially a failed breakout. And I'm thinking maybe prices are coming back in, but it doesn't. It ticks 1 tick below and reverses back up. Then it kind of creates a smaller consolidation area. So I'm thinking this range has played out, this congestion area, which is great because I didn't really like how it looked. It's a little iffy, not the cleanest trading range, as opposed to something like down here where it's more decisive. Because here you have a lot of room down here, a lot of room up here. Maybe my trading range is incorrect. Maybe actually it's supposed to be a little bit lower here, tighter. I wasn't sure. So I'm glad that it kind of got out of this area. So it kind of resolves the ambiguity for me. And I didn't take any trades here. Pushes out. I'm thinking it's a breakout of this potential purple range. Wonder why it moved. Okay, so you have a first entry long pullback. I'm looking for, well, here, I was looking for a potential failed second entry long. So I wanted one of these candles to come up, hit this, and then continue down. And I think, okay, it's moving back into this range. Fail breakout, it's probably going to one leg up, push back second leg up, and then fail on me, but it didn't happen. Push it down. I did see this as a new high, first entry long pullback, potentially a second entry long. The only thing you have going for it is it's the support at the bottom, the pretty decent signal bar. It's arguable whether you have a break of this yellow down channel or not, but it is counter trend to what's going on here. But it's counter trend to this breakout, so I'm thinking it could be a potential breakout here. But it is also bouncing off the bottom of the range. So there's things going for and against it because whether you follow the trading range rules or you follow the trend channel rules, you can make a case that it's going to work as a long, or you could make a case that it might continue downwards. So I marked it for myself, wrote it in my notes, but I'm glad I didn't take a trade. Bounces around. So it's a break of this yellow down channel, makes one attempt up, pull back, creates a second attempt up. This is where I take my last and final trade, and this is actually the trade that I thought was probably the best one of the four. I like that it made a measure move. I like that it broke out of this yellow down channel, made two attempts up. This down channel still wants to test its low, and it closed below the EMA. The EMA isn't quite sideways. It's definitely sideways here, but it trended up. It's starting to push back down. It closed low. It closed low on itself as a bar. Ideally, it would have been a red bar, but that's okay. And I thought, okay, there's enough room to push back down to here. And I thought it was the start of a potential consolidation area. So I was thinking one leg down, consolidation, two legs up, maybe a second leg about the same size down and through to complete the fail breakout here to kind of have a matching side. So I like this trade. I entered one tick below, but I didn't want to press my luck. So I just entered and got out for quick scalp, 1 point scalp, and it pushed down. Definitely there was enough room for two in my opinion. And it looked like you would have gotten your two here, but I was okay with just taking one, especially off of three previous trades, two of which I feel like, I had luck on my side to get those two. And this one was a little bit more thought out. So I thought, okay, I'm up 4-0. Let's not push our luck going into the weekend. You have a good amount of profit. I don't want to give any of that back, especially on a Friday, especially when I had no trades yesterday. And then also, I wasn't able to trade the day before on Wednesday. So it's just like, okay, it was a 2-day dry spell. Don't push your luck. So I decided not to take any more trades after that, but I did continue watching the charts. There's a new high, it's a first entry long pullback, and now we're clearly in a trading range. There's a new low here. It's a first entry short, second entry short. This is a good second entry short signal bar, but it feels spindly. What I mean is like the bars have a lot of tail to them on either side. So I'm more cautious of that because when there's a lot of tail, that means when the candle opens, before it closes, one side, the buyers or the sellers had enough power to push it back to, close to where the open or the close was, creating these big tails. So it's showing like there's some weakness happening. So I'm a little more cautious, especially if it's trending sideways. So it's hard to know if there's a bias really pushing for it. So I stay out of this and I tend to avoid second entries there. Even if it's second entry, like this one, you could make the arguments of new low, first entry short, second entry short, decent signal bar, near the top of the range. I just didn't like these previous lines here. And if you did take an entry, it looks like for 4 point scalp, you would have gotten it, but just barely. And that's, a little iffy. Plus, it just didn't look right and feel right, at least for me. The prices then continue pushing up. And trends, there's no clean entry. You do have a first entry long here. Second entry long is a signal bar is kind of not the best, and you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. So it is a second entry off of a no clear context. Prices then continue moving up. You do have a first entry short, second entry short is a decent signal bar, but it's above the EMA now. EMA is going flat and it's confusing because here, if I trusted this trading range and I'm thinking it made one push down, push up, maybe it's going to make another attempt down, or you can see it as one push down, one up, one down, but now it's reversing. So is it really going to come back up to here, or is it going to make another push down? I have no idea, so I left it alone. Prices then continue moving up. It pushes out on this orange up channel. I'm not the biggest fan of this orange up channel because it fit nicely here, but there's a breakout here, another breakout here. I thought if I fit it lower, then it kind of fits nicely up here, except my start is a little further away and it just didn't feel or look clean. Prices then kind of hit another consolidation area. This is where price action really starts to slow down because this is from 10 o'clock all the way over to 11 o'clock. So here is 1 hour of trading, and then this is from 10 to 9. This is another hour of trading, and it's just very slow price action. Saw a failed breakout of this potential trading range. There was no second entry short, first entry short, and you don't get another second entry short. So I saw this and I thought, okay, this is technically it's new high here, first entry long pullback, second entry long. You could count this as a new high, new localized high. First entry long right here. Pullback, you have a second entry long. You also have a potential second entry long failure. What I did see is this is a possible trade because it's maybe bouncing off this still developing yellow down channel. So this yellow down channel, I don't trust in real time right now. What I do see is a first entry long, second entry long. I also see a first entry short, second entry short, potential second entry short. So now it creates the confirmed second entry short. It also creates a failed second entry long, bounced off the EMA. Now, if you were more aggressive, maybe you would have taken this trade because there's enough room to the bottom. What I would want is this to be more bearish, but I'm not in the trade, so I just waited and I thought maybe wait for a lower high. So it pushes down, pushes up, then flashes down. I also thought this is the pre-market highs, or at least where I established pre-market highs. I like that this lower high is confirming the failed second entry long and second entry short. It also started to push into this larger pre-market trading range. It's a really good signal bar. It is confirming this yellow down channel, and there's enough room for a quick scalp. What would have been even more perfect is if it had a nice bounce off the EMA, but this is already pretty close. So maybe this is, a decent enough setup. I would have, so if I was to take this trade, I wouldn't want to put it one tick below here. I want to see the next candle, and as it's printing, I'd probably put my order at the lows of these two guys here. So it looks like if, I did do that, it's debatable whether I would have gotten filled at this point. And when I see this one, and my entry is still up here, I wouldn't have chased it. I would have considered the trade already completed. I would have deleted my order. If you stuck around with my plan, you would have gotten filled here and probably gotten the scalp here, but I would have already been out on this candle. It looked like it's going to bounce and push back up. So definitely, you'd have to be willing to take a larger stop in order to get that trade, or you would have had to take a little bit more risk and maybe put at the lows of this candle. But this candle itself is 2.75 points, so it's about 11 ticks. So you'd already be taking a rather big risk. And I wouldn't even put my stop up here. I'd probably put it up here above the double high, which increases the risk. So unfortunately, these two setups I don't think it would have worked out for me even if I tried to attempt them. Prices then continue down. It gets choppy. This is technically a first entry short, second entry short. This is a bad signal bar to go short on. Flashes up. And even though it looks like, things are getting choppy, it's still very slow. These candles are printing very slowly all the way into the end of the day. It kind of flashes down. This is toward the end of the day. I saw this green down channel. I saw a first entry short, second entry short. And I want to point out that I also saw this as a new high. You technically have a first entry long pullback break, and you might have a second entry long, but this is kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So although you have a second entry long, you would be picking the bottom because you're thinking it's a break of this green down channel. It's a break here. You're thinking it's going to reverse to the other side. It's a decent signal bar, but that's the only thing going for it other than a break of this green down channel and you're expecting it to move back up. So when you see this in real time, you're kind of playing the chance that you're picking the bottom. It would have worked, but for me, I just didn't like that. And it goes up to here. I saw this as a new low, first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short. This is the signal bar for the second entry short. It's an EMA rejection. I would have liked it if this closed red, but it just didn't feel right. So when I saw this, I thought the only way to want to take this trade, because this green down channel still wants to meet a low, create a new low, I'd only want to take it on a higher or a lower high. And as you can see, you don't really get a lower high, it just flashes down. Keep in mind, I wouldn't have taken this trade anyways, just because it's so close to the end of the day. But if this setup was kind of in regular trading hours, regular meaning not in the last 10 to 15 minutes, that's what I would have been looking for. But unfortunately, the trade never works out. So this is kind of like an almost trade. But in real time and in this scenario, it's a no trade at all because you only have 10 minutes left. Keeping in mind, I already had profits for the week. As I said, I had 4 winning trades. I was not willing to risk any of that. So it's kind of how I saw the trades today. It was slow. I would say out of everything, there's probably out of the 4 trades that I took, 2 of them were decent. And then the first 2 were definitely more aggressive, more risky, should have been skipped because they're introducing unnecessary risk. So hopefully that was helpful.